On JJ Redick's podcast, Draymond Green was asked about the smartest players in the NBA. He included LeBron, Rajon Rondo, and Chris Paul, and had one honorable mention.
But the thing that excites me most about Ja Morant is when we're playing against the Memphis Grizzlies, and not quite to the level of LeBron James or Chris Paul or Rajon Rondo, but when we're playing against those guys, I can feel the chess match. Like every possession down, they're looking at me, scoping me out to see where I'm at. I'm looking at their guys and what they're doing to try to see what they're trying to get into. And every time down the floor, it's like a chess match.
If you remember, Ja Morant had one of the best playoff performances ever in Game 2 against the Warriors when he scored 47, including the last 15 points in the fourth to close them out. After Green said those comments, I went back and watched the first two games and noticed that Morant was able to gather the information necessary to dominate those last 5 minutes. Today I'm going to share those observations and explain how that helped him later in that game too. Morant's strongest attribute is the way he creates near the basket. He's one of the few right-handed dominant players who is really comfortable driving with his left, and he seeks it out. I think part of that reason is because it truly puts him in a triple threat position. As you may know, Morant is not the best three-point shooter, but the shots he's more comfortable taking are pull-ups and step-backs, both straight and to his left. The way that Ja could squeeze through tight driving lanes or go up and under other defenders makes him a really tough cover to defend in the paint. His quick crossover and in and out moves help him shake defenders in isolation situations. And when his left hand gets cut off, he resorts to the spin move to get to his right hand. With that being said, he had mixed results when trying to get deep in the paint. The Warriors at times were able to come up with enough help to get him off balance, or the individual defender would contest the shot well. This was mostly evident in the last two plays of Game 1. On the first play, Morant gets Steph Curry on the switch and attacks with his left hand. As he realizes Curry cuts off his left hand, he tries going up with his right but is absolutely swarmed by him and Gary Payton, and he gets his shot blocked. On the final play of the game, you can see Curry recognizing the play. He points at Morant and tells Gary Payton to go press up on him, in which he does, and you can see Morant tell Clark, if he hits me, move. And I'm pretty sure he wants him to follow Morant's path to prevent help defenders, in this case Thompson, Toscano Anderson, or Wiggins from being in Morant's way. Thompson doesn't really fall for it, and Morant's drive with his left hand is really tough and it doesn't fall. That's why it's important to not get so deep in the paint to get better shots at times. When Ja recognizes that there's more traffic, he likes resorting to his righty floater to help keep the defense honest. Where Ja becomes a more complete offensive player is through his passing with help from his hang time. When Morant gets deep in the paint, he often has more success leaving his feet and looking for another teammate than trying to go up towards the rim. This has really opened up many open jump shots or hockey assists. For example, he drives on Wiggins and sees Lee and Looney come to help, so he hangs and throws it back out to Williams, which leads to a kick-out three for Anderson. Besides his hang time, his ability to understand the spacing of the floor has really helped him become more patient and recognize when to attack. For example, he has a one-on-one matchup with Wiggins, but he pulls the ball back out, understanding that the paint is empty and a cut is available for someone else. He sees Tillman cutting and gets him an and one. On the pick and roll here, the paint is wide open, but instead of throwing it to Tillman at this juncture, he takes an extra dribble to attract Wiggins and then fakes the overhead pass to dump it to Tillman inside. But this might be the most impressive example. With a horn set, most players would likely want to use Dillon Brooks' screen to attack Jordan Poole, but he decides to pick Thompson as his matchup, and here's why. Morant knows that as he drives, Poole is the help defender at the nail, trying to give Thompson support, which puts a lot of pressure on him to shade Morant and recover to Brooks. Jaren Jackson has also been having a great game shooting, so Looney can't help, which gives Brooks a wide open lane, and that's exactly what happens. More interestingly enough, similar to how a quarterback tries to freeze linebackers with their eyes, Morant was using his eyes to try and move Draymond Green away from the action as much as possible. On the fast break, Morant has a 3-on-2, and with Green potentially anticipating closing out to Desmond Bane in the corner, Ja first looks at Zaire to pull in and force Green's attention away from the corner, which gets Bane a more wide open look. In the half court, Melton is coming off a pin down, and Morant looks at Clark to pull Draymond in, and this gets Melton a much cleaner catch. In the pick and roll, it appears that Morant wants to go right, which gets Green creeping up, but he goes into a quick crossover and drives left, but Draymond does a great job covering it. Now, while I showed clips of Morant having success with Draymond, his presence really affected him in isolation. While Morant's instincts are to attack the basket, Green's presence prompted him to take more jumpers than try and go at him. Which leads us to the last 6 minutes of Game 2. Here's a couple things we have learned that help us understand what happens next. First, Morant likes driving to his left. If he gets cut off, he will either spin to his right or try the floater. Secondly, Morant wants to get in the paint as much as possible, but he needs clean runways to be more effective, especially away from Draymond Green. And finally, if both options seem out of the picture, then he's going to step back or pull up for 3. So here, Morant decides to drive left against Curry, and seeing that he's anticipating it, he spins off Steph and drives it to Draymond's chest for the and 1. And now, to open up more entryways into the paint, the Grizzlies started flipping the screen at the last moment, going away from Draymond. Here, Williams flips the screen to the left, which gets pulled out of position, and now Thompson is the only help defender in the way, so Morant gets an easy layup. Next time down, Wiggins anticipates the flipping of the screen, so Morant crosses over left to right and weaves around Green for the layup. But even in this case, this was an incredibly tough shot, and on the following possession, Morant doesn't get the same result trying the same thing. And so this is where Morant being in that triple threat position is so important. Instead of challenging Green, he goes to his left and steps back for 3, knowing that that's been his best chance at shooting. But how he truly adjusted was by accepting the switch and attacking subsequently. Here he attacks Poole to his left, and knowing that Draymond's going to help on the spin, he half spins to shake Poole and Green, and he gets the easy floater. And to close it out, he sees Clay, who's the main help defender, with his back turned, which prompts him to start his attack, and Clay is late, so Morant gets the floater to close the game out. And so while Morant's game seems flashy, he's starting to use his brain to understand how to attack, especially against one of the most experienced teams. Now, most people are concerned about his longevity as a player, especially if he loses his explosiveness, and while I do think it would definitely hurt some of his attacking tendencies, his brain will really help him overcome some of those difficulties. And as long as he can continue improving his shot, which he has, his craftiness and IQ will help him find angles around the rim. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.